1992, late June, early July 1992 to October 31st, 1999, Doco's Family Restaurant. Thank you so much for going down memory lane with me. Let me take you to that particular time at Doco's Family Restaurant. If I said the name Winifred Murphy, you'd be thinking, sounds like a woman. You're wrong. Winifred Murphy was a black man. He had bowled with Doc down at Fuzzy's Federal Lanes, or Federal Lanes, whatever it was called at that time there. That's kind of a long story. I may get into that at one point, but I may not. But Fuzzy's, okay, we'll say Fuzzy's Federal Lanes. He'd bowled with Doc down at Fuzzy's Federal Lanes, and I guess Doc had talked about him or whatever, and mentioned to the manager, Mark, that he was going to hire in Murphy. Mark had me train Murphy. I went out to bust a couple tables for waitresses, and I come back and he had racks of the dishes stacked on top of the table back in the kitchen, and really got a little bit of confusion and whatnot with me. It really made me he really made me nervous, so to speak. Murphy went then from days to midnights, working midnights, and I guess Doc had a flour barrel. It was kind of like one of the big trash cans, kind of like medium-sized trash cans, if you will, with the lids on them and whatnot, plastic trash cans, if you will. And he put his flour in there for his baking of his dumplings, his pies, and and whatnot. And Murphy was caught sleeping on there. So, with that being said, Doc had put on there, reserved for Murphy, flour barrel ass. And Murphy had said Doc had told Murphy, he's like, hey, he said, what's the deal with you sleeping? You catching her sleeping on the flour barrel. He goes, I ain't sleeping on the flour barrel, Doc. He goes, I'm just back here kind of relaxing a little bit in between times doing my dishes and whatnot. And Doc says to him, yeah, right, goof. So he's sitting on the back of the flour barrel, blah, 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 that, the other. At one point, I got a phone call. I had been off that Saturday night. By that time, I had worked my way up from midnights to afternoons to the main time to be on day shift, and I was basically the head dishwasher back then, so to speak. If there was anybody to be training, I usually trained them. It pretty much gave me, at the time, I was anywhere between 40 to 50 hours, if you go 45, 50 hours roughly each week. And I basically, if I got a phone call, it was like I had to come in, I mean, I almost always came in. We'll get into the kind of the few details of them situations at another time. But Murphy had, I'd come in and the dishwasher called off and I had to work with Murphy. Well, I sent Murphy out to bust tables. I said, Murphy, I got it back here because I didn't want to get behind in the dishes and whatnot. So I'd done them, and waitresses come back and told me they were out of silverware. I'm like, okay, well, where's the bus cart? I go back I go out there into the dining room, and there's Murphy back there talking to a group of teenage kids during the bar rush, about anywhere between 2:15, 2:30, 4:03, and he's back there talking. He says, now I'm a black man, and you are white. What's saying if a black man went into your neighborhood and messed around? What would happen to him? Well, Doc had come in, taken over for a waitress we were minus, and he was covering the counter, giving guys coffee, helping the waitresses out by making extra coffee, this, that, the other. And I told Doc, because Doc asked me, he goes, hey, what's the deal, Rod? So you got no silverware? He goes, I'm kind of running low here on cups back here. What's the deal? I pointed back there. I said, right back there's the deal. I said, Murphy's back there. Doc says, hey, Reverend, would you stop preaching and take that bus cart back there? Rod needs to give away some dishes up. We're out of silverware and almost out of coffee cups. Hold on a second, Doc. I'll be right there, Doc. 5 minutes later rolls around, and Doc's like, fucking stupid spook. So go back there and fucking get that bus card. I go back there and get the bus card. I wash the dishes up. About a week and a half later, Murphy got fired. He only lasted maybe a month, I'd say, maybe a month and a half, if that. Doug Gehring, one of the cooks and managers at the time, was back in the cooler. I believe with a waitress named Janet, I want to say, or it could have been the cook Stacy. Not quite sure on that. But I know he was back there. I wasn't there at the time. I know he was back there. And he ended up coming in and giving kisses and whatnot to her, and they were kind of making out and whatnot. And Murphy opened it up and said, "Give me some." The next thing you know, Murphy was fired. Murphy had come in and wanted to know why he got fired. And I remember him telling me, he says, "I got back there, they was all smoochy and boochy, and he goes, I went in there, this cooler, I said, give me some. The next thing you know, they fired my ass. My ass was fired." And I remember Doc telling Murphy, when he asked Doc what the deal was, and he asked Doc if that was a particular reason, Doc goes, "No, man." He goes, "You fucked me, man. Because every time you turned around, I was behind on dishes, or you were behind on dishes and whatnot. You hardly did any of your cleanup, and all you did was sit on the flour barrel. You fucked me." "How'd I fuck you, Doc? How'd I fuck you? That ain't fucking you. How'd I fuck you?" That's the story of Winifred Murphy. The gist of it. There's so much more to go into detail. I won't really take it all. That pretty much sums it up. Thank you so much for going down memory lane with me. I'll catch you next time.